Yes, we've done some research and we are going to unpack it.
This is
Let's
your
get them in.
chance.
This
After
is
this,
live
there's no
stream.
turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Truth is, you can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. Truth is. Truth is. There's some production. You got to get these cameras moving, all right? When I'm looking here, you need to be here. When I'm looking there, you need to be there. Big up some production. Oh yeah, and you know what, production? Let's go ahead and cue the big ups production. Cue the music. Yeah, buddy.
I'm just a kid from Chicago.
Yep. Home of the original gangbangers.
I'm just a kid from Chicago.
Where ain't nobody shy.
Really the most.
I'm just a kid from Chicago.
Trying to make a way in the game of life.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm just a kid from Chicago.
Absolutely.
Back against the wall, all a brother ever tried to do it for.
I'm just a kid from Chicago. Self love. Vision. Chi-Town is in the building. Big up School Show. Kid from Chicago. This intellectual property. He's a Chicago kid. Claiming the West Side. Big ups, dude. I see you out there. Big ups. We got some stuff to unpack today. Welcome to Chi-Town's very own, the Self Luv Show, where our motto is, on earth as it is in heaven. Big ups to the ancestors. Big ups to the ancestors. And we also say, on earth as it is in heaven. As above, so below. We can be found right here on YouTube's channel. This ain't that network. So if you thought you were getting Fox or MSNBC or anything in between that, you're wrong. This ain't that network. TATN. TATN. This is your co-host, Nine Mills, also known as Self Love. One of the Self Love. What down, Chi-Town? What down? Repeat after me. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. Stop being on some lazy shit. Get up. Today is Taco Tuesday. Look at that. June 8th, 2021. And you can be any place in this vast universe. And thankfully, we chose to be here together. Here together. What down? Mr. Wordsmith, what you manifesting today, self-love?
Love, self. I'm manifesting love. What you manifesting?
Pure magnanimous, unfiltered, sometimes cold, sometimes humid, always tough, blue collar, Chi-Town love, right? Speaking of the Chi, man, what's going on over there in your neck of the woods? Because, you know, I'm out here in the other wood.
Yeah. In fact, I was in Inglewood today. Stopped by the studio over there to pick up my computer. So I was in
Oh,
the
that's
wood and
what's up.
using Inglewood. Different places, but great weather today. You know, hoping my garden grow.
Man, every day we got to plant a seed, water a seed, and, you know, a garden is a great metaphor for life, huh, bro?
Facts.
Man,
Absolute facts. I also
man.
wanted to say happy belated birthday to Jazzy, my big brother. From the same mother. Love you, bro.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Jazzy, happy belated, brother. And man, many more times around go. Do collect your $200. Do not collect your $200 from me. But happy belated, bro. Man,
Sure.
today, man, we got um, you know, we're gonna go through gang culture. It's somewhat of a misnomer, I guess, to say Chicago gang culture as the way our ancestors told us to approach this. But this is gang culture. We're going to define, I guess, basically, you know, what it means, what it means to be, what a gang means, what that word gang means, according to Webster's. And then we're going to break down the history and the origin of gangs. Today we're going to go up to 1950s. So that should tell you something there. We're going to, of course, touch on the Chicago outfit. Yeah? We're not talking about outfit because, you know, we got to coordinate. We match the vest with the top, you know, the shoes, this and that. Pull out the wallet, it's all coordinated. You know what I mean? Yeah, but no, we're not talking about that type of outfit. We're talking about the Chicago outfit, you know, that little thing. Uh, you know, some Capone lore. Um, we'll touch on why do gangs exist. You know, we may scrape across 12 because, you know, I'll ask some questions. I ask questions. You don't have to answer them, but we question everything. Um, and so then, of course, we're going to get into, and we're going to end it with the cherry on top. You know, my personal favorite, which is Wordsmith's final words. To add on to his announcements, I want to wish a big ups to my big brother Miliak. You know, speedy recovery out there, bro. And also, fam, headed to going to be going to Lost Wages here real soon. Yeah, so I'll be reaching out to brother Pullen, see if we can get up in that man's cave. The t-shirts, I'm greater than my excuse. I am greater than my excuse. The t-shirts are right around the corner, so big ups. And little Nick with it. You know, we got to get you a t-shirt. And you know, I already showed you the award, so you know, we'll get that tightened up. And then tomorrow's show, we're going to do meditation. We're going to touch on the meditation, you know, the benefits, the tech, science behind it. And then on Mouthpiece Included, which is Thursday, our topic is going to be athletes as entrepreneurs. And then lastly, of my announcements, Self Love is our next tier. You know, once we get to 9,999 subscribers here at TATN, it's proprietary, but we are the spark that's going to what?
Change.
That's right.
The world.
Specifically, the city of Chicago, in general, the state of Illinois. You know, if we go more macro, the world. Again, all you have to do is plant a seed. What? water it.
walk and cultivate it.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Oh,
Talk to
I
it.
did have another announcement too. Congrats to Sherry. Sherry got married on Sunday.
Congrats to that. Big ups, and many, many years of success. And so so when we get up to our next tier, when we get up to so 9,999 subscribers, that's where we're going to change the world, at least spark the change for it. But our next tier here is 499, and that's where I'm going to be jumping out of an airplane out there with the better half. And so we need you guys to subscribe. We're getting close. I think we were up to 329 when I checked. So, we're getting there, one step at a time. And any gang members out there, gang, I would say, put your gang or your block out there in the comments. No, I'm just joking. I know the real ones won't. But if you fake out there, you're at home, you're in the suburbs or something, you want to put it in there, put that in there. Just know that 12 can and me and Will, be watching, et cetera. Look up the Patriot Act. But moreover, though, seriously, with all due respect, we want to know where you're from, what city you're from, things of that nature. If you have any expertise on either side of this, you might be part of that 12 gang, or you might have some history. You might have family members. You may have been born in it. You may, have been in it, and then, now you're not in it anymore. We want to know about that, and put some questions out there. Give us some facts. Correct us. Let us know the history, because this is something that we're going to address together, like we do the house series, right? So
yes, absolutely. We want people to chime in and be a part of it. And I need you to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so it goes far and wide. Algorithm is a dancer and loves it. And also, when you hit the bell, you'll be notified every time we go live or post a video. We're doing it organically. We're not buying any views or any bots. We're gonna have real people here on TATN. So we have two very important videos I need you to pay close attention to, as always. But before that, the Self Love Show quote of the day. For humankind, the first law of existence is love. For humankind, the first law of existence is love. And that's from Larry Hoover. So,
free Larry Hoover, man.
Yeah, free all the guys, man. Prison and slavery.
In entering upon this course of instruction, each of you should, so far as possible, lay aside for the time being all previous theories and beliefs. By so doing, you will be saved the trouble of trying all the way through the show to put, quote, new wine into old wineskins, end quote. Luke chapter 5, verse 37. If there's anything as we proceed which you don't understand or agree with, just let it lie passively in your mind until you have enjoyed the entire show. For many statements that would at first arouse antagonism and discussion will be clear and easily accepted a little farther on. After the show is over, if you wish to return to your old beliefs and ways of living, you are at perfect liberty to do so. But for the time being, be willing to become as a little child, for said the Master in spiritual things, quote, except ye become as little children, ye shall in no wise enter into the kingdom of heaven, end quote. Matthew chapter 18, verse 3.
The message in those scriptures.
If at times there seems to be repetition, please remember, the Self Love Show is a lesson.
Lessons.
Not a lecture.
Not lectures. Facts.
Silverback More Growth and Development Platform. Number 1, repair our nation via reparations. We demand our silver back. Number 2, to connect our breadwinners with our activists. And 3, show an accurate depiction of African American Chi-Town. 4, to shine a light on positive influence. 5, heal our community one person at a time. 6, to provide an unfiltered platform for our influencers. 7, recycle the black dollar. 8, to provide mentors for the mentorless. 9, to close the gap between us and our pink kinsmen.
Let's close, man. Yeah.
Get her closed. Let's get her closed.
Yeah, let's get that gap closed. Get it closed. Hey, man, if you happen to miss Thursday's show, Wednesday's show, you take it upon yourself to check it out. It was George Perry, Chi-Town Silverback. Would you say, Self Luv?
Yes, man. Do yourself a service and just search that. And man, check it out, because Jim.
Humble.
Super.
And, I'll give you a little tidbit. We'll leave you guys with a cliffhanger. When he was, I think, 6 months old, 6 months, yeah, there was a fire, because in the building, it had to be wintertime. I'm adding in a lot of superfluous assumptions here, but that's how Shy is. Somebody in the building was probably burning the gas out there. Maybe the power was cut off or something out there. They had that oven going, but whatever. A lot of stuff happened, and those buildings used to set on fire out there. And his mom had the presence of mind out there to throw the 6-month baby down there in the mattress or the blankets. The people down in the community caught that. Well, we don't want to tell you how it ended. You guys. So I'll leave it right there. He was 6 months old and he was flying down the air. The building was on fire. And what happened? Did they catch him? Did he fall? Did he die? Well, you won't know unless you check out the show from Thursday, huh, Self Luv?
Wednesday, and he's right.
Yes, Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. Yes. Check that out. And and then for the chat, Brother Daniels, yo. I see Stage Dude to my club, yo.
Yo.
Yeah, we need you guys on standby. Self, I've been doing some investigation. There's appears to be somehow YouTube is allowing the white supremacist race soldiers to just barge in on the black people's lives once they identify that you're black, and you might be on the side of Black Lives Matter. You might be, conscience or woke or whatever they want to call it. You might be about it. And then they come in and they press a lot of buttons and flag you and complain against your live and you mess your stream up. It's basically harassment.
Yeah, it's definitely harassment. And we got our first dig of that on Wednesday.
Wouldn't be surprised if they came back, but but there's because I noticed Doc Liberty, Marcus Liberty, he did his podcast and they didn't have the comments on. So I have to learn how to manipulate this thing. I believe there's a way where during the show, there is. I just figured out how to do it. So if they come in, I can go right in here and edit this thing and cut the what?
Right out.
Cut the comments right off. Yeah. So what they do, by all of those comments, it tricks the algorithm into thinking, oh, there's hate going on.
Right.
And all the algorithm is going to do is shut the hate down. But really, these are bots programmed by white supremacy. And YouTube's got to do something about it.
Facts.
Yeah. So, what can you do, right? These people own everything. But like, share, subscribe, huh?
Hit the bell, share far and wide, and let's go.
Man. Self-love, though. But did you see, to switch gears a little bit, we just did our show on DNA. And did you hear about the Minnesota man charged in a 72-year-old case, Pink Man?
What? No.
Well, a case from 72, not a
okay.
72. Yeah, Pink Man. I know you stay pretty unplugged, but whenever you guys are ready, production.
It hit the community very hard. This young girl, 15 years old, left her home in Naperville and never returned.
A suburban cold case suddenly gets hot. Naperville police made the bombshell announcement today. They believe they've cracked the case almost 50 years after the murder of a teen. This is the headstone for 15-year-old Julianne Hanson. She was stabbed 36 times in July back in 1972 and sexually assaulted.
This brutal crime haunted our community for many years.
Hanson's body was discovered in this Naperville field the same day she went missing. Her murder remained unsolved until now.
It didn't happen overnight. It took time and a lot of hard work.
Now 76 years old, police say Barry Lee Welpley was 27 years old at the time and lived 1 mile away from the victim.
He just retired as a welder.
Look how the demon is. Just retired.
He was a resident of Naperville.
He's probably bragging to everybody, I'm about to retire.
Yeah, got to live his life outside of the incarceration.
Now facing 3 counts of murder, detectives say they used
True.
DNA and
but either way, it's bad.
used genealogy
It is way bad now. There's no protecting himself in there.
Yes, he might have been getting out by now.
To California.
They utilize private
27,
labs
he could protect himself a lot better too out there.
with advanced DNA
Well,
testing and genealogy
the rape?
analysis.
Yeah.
Welpley
He's
was
in
never
tough-
a suspect before.
tough
He
time.
has a $10 million bond and will be extradited from Minnesota back here to Illinois in a few days.
Yeah, went out there, lived in Minnesota. Yeah, and condolences to the family. But yeah, they didn't want to say how they did it, so but they got it through the DNA ancestry, the cousins of cousins. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing. It is.
Damn. Yeah.
You know, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had he not, sexually assaulted the girl, he'd have gotten away with the murder.
Yeah.
But the whole point of the murder was the sexual assault. So.
And did you say he stabbed her 36 times? Is that?
Yeah, she was fighting, man. She was 15.
Jeez.
All right, but yeah, man, but yeah, and it's a little heavy, but yeah, but we got a little something on the lighter side. Well, pun intended. It's a little fat privilege.
Fat privilege, huh?
Yeah, did you hear about that, so fat privilege?
I'm unplugged, man.
Is this white privilege or fat privilege? You gotta hear this. I'm gonna go off camera.
I've heard of too pretty for prison, but too fat for prison, that's the first time I've heard that.
What?
Now at 11, yes.
You remember the blonde was too pretty.
Spending hard time at home tonight instead
what?
Of behind
Who
bars,
said who was too pretty?
Yeah, that was years ago in the 90s. They had a pretty blonde. She kept doing stuff, and they kept talking about she was too pretty. Wouldn't send her to jail. That happens all the time, so.
I know, but how can they say that, though?
Because they're pink, and that's how they justify their existence. Nonsense.
A judge issued a ruling this week rejecting his wishes to end his sentence early. So he's going to stay here in the Bay Area. Guilty, but too big to be behind bars.
I've heard of too pretty for prison.
But too heavy? That's definitely a first for local criminal defense attorney Joe Episcopo, who weighed in tonight on the case of Stephen Goodman, a 70-year-old pharmacist from Pinellas County, right now serving a 30-month sentence of house arrest for his role in a massive South Florida pill mill ring. The sentence mainly because of his size, a now whopping 551 pounds.
Whoa.
Tonight we tracked Goodman through property records to this Treasure Island address. But no one answered when we knocked.
Just sit in the house,
However,
eat.
court transcripts from then detail what happened. In 2012,
Can't
a
do
judge
much
ruled
else.
he was too obese for prison and would be too big of a burden on the system.
I would tell
His
my
multitude
client,
of
start
medical and
eating.
emotional issues, his need for an almost
I'd stretch the cases out. You
caregiver,
start
and the simple
eating
fact
right
he
now.
wouldn't fit on a prison bed.
It's
All
going to be
taken
difficult
into
to get to
account,
500
with a
pounds,
doctor
though, bro.
surmising he'd only live another 1
It's
to
gonna be
3
difficult
years.
to get white.
But this week, with just months left in his sentence, his case
551
resurfaced
pounds?
with a motion filed to
It's gonna
end
be
the rest of
difficult to
his home
turn white.
confinement. Goodman's
Yeah,
Tampa-based
We wouldn't be
attorney
having this
argued that his
conversation if he wasn't white
was
with a fancy white
unnecessary
lawyer. I'm sure
because
there's
his
plenty of
condition
fat,
effectively
poor
confines
people
him
that went
there
to jail.
already. Goodman wanted to spend what time he had left traveling to Cincinnati
Yeah, you're right. I'm
to see
sure
his
there is
family
somebody
and friends
551
one last
pounds
time.
in prison.
But the federal judge was unmoved, ultimately denying him his request, saying it would eliminate the only real form of punishment he received.
I'm not surprised at all. That's a bridge too far to cross.
I did speak with Goodman briefly on the phone tonight, but all he would say was that he had nothing to say. As for his attorney,
the fat don't even look real.
went unreturned.
Right.
Goodman is currently serving
wearing a
time for
fat suit.
supplying more than
It looks like it. I mean, you know, can't see his neck.
But he was
At least from
peeled.
that
And to all
angle.
the obese people, you know, we're not taking a shot at you.
No.
But Self, I would literally I would use the fat, if I was a defense attorney, if I was pinning a crime, I'd stretch out the case and I'd start eating sugars, salts, fat backs. You know what I mean? I'd be getting fatter and fatter every time I showed up to court for the continuance. They don't want to deal with them. And then you could say, how am I a threat to society when I can't move? I mean, it's a hell of a defense. I'm morbidly obese, you know. I can't, you know, whatever it is you said I was doing, out there, boom, 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 boom. I can't do any of that because I need somebody to push me around and stuff.
Yeah, because he definitely looked like he has to have someone push him around because a motor wouldn't last long.
Well, if you're in the joint and you can get your family to get you a bunch of commissaries so that you can eat, you know, and get a lot of money, and then you can pay other people in the joint to give you their food and you fatten up, you think they'll let you out?
No. They'd put you on some restrictive diet or something.
Stop letting you go to commissary.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, nah, man.
Fat privilege, everybody. We've seen it right here in 2020. But I'm surprised you don't remember the blondes. Yeah, bro, that was all in the 90s. That was all over the news, and they used to justify it. I'm surprised you don't remember it, bro. Yes, she's too pretty to go to jail. It was those teachers, and you can't put a pretty girl, and they come right on the world news. You put a pretty girl in there with those animals, with those beasts. Yeah, I don't remember stuff like that. Glory to God, I don't forget. I mean, I don't forget that stuff, and that's why I keep my knee on their neck, you know, when they put more nonsense out. You know what I mean? Because you know what I'm saying? I was just as floored by it by this here. Yeah, she's too pretty. She'll get attacked. They don't say that when it's when it's a little black girl or a young black boy who's handsome and goes in there. They throw him right in there to the animals. Laugh about it.
Or the little black girl, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they throw them to the animals too.
Yeah, we're putting you in with the animals.
Yeah, you did that. You're going in.
Yeah, and so I bet you if he was black, I bet your fat butt gonna lose some weight now. You know what I mean? That's what they say. The judge would have said it too, and I bet you lose some weight in jail, eating that county food. I mean, but big ups, big ups, large ups to do. Man, magnanimous. He was pushing the pills, so.
Yeah, so no ups to him. He pushing the pills out there.
Yeah, let's get on topic though. But I guess they're not here for that. Pretty much, right? Enough of the appetizers. So,
yes, man. Come on, feed the Self Luv Nation's thirst, quench it rather.
All right. Well, the one thing we want to jump into, Self, and I'm going to ask you, how would you define a gang? Define gang. We're asking for your definition, not Webster's. I got Webster's right here.
Group of individuals working together to do various objectives. It used to be to protect the neighborhood, and then it moved to other things. But it's a brotherhood, and a lot of people. It takes the place of family.
Okay. That was a wholesome Chi-Town South Side definition. I wouldn't add anything to that. I'm gonna get the Webster's definition shortly. Mark Daniels says he loves the introduction. He's a conservative. You outed him on here as a conservative, so I think he likes all the Christianity and the God stuff that we got at the top of the show. Big ups, family first, God first, family second. Brother Daniels, and then we got Moultrie. All right, he's another one of these guys. You know what I mean? gun first, God second, family third. He says, hey, coach, this past Sunday was the 6th month and the 6th day in 600 hours. What does he mean by the 6? What does he mean by the 600?
Oh, 600 hours, 6 a.m. But I still don't quite.
Oh, okay. He's saying since it was June 6th at 6 a.m. Well, even at 6, then at 6 p.m., then you had 66, right? Right.
Well, 6 p.m. He did 600. So
oh,
6
he did the
p.m.
Army
would
time.
be 1800. Yeah, so
yes,
that would be
yes.
1800 would be
All
6
right.
p.m.
All right. All right. It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah. Look at that. 666. Marty Elkins says, good evening, my brothers. Keep up the good work. Thanks for the support, bro. And welcome to LA. And then Brother Daniel says, what's that saying? Wow. They just be fat, brother?
Let that be a frat brother.
Yeah, exactly. He said he would not be fat for long. Exactly. They beat the
Right.
fat out of him, bro. From the time he went to his house, they'd figure out a way to get him out of there. Yeah, he's too fat. Yeah, just like that blonde, bro. That was a thing. Bro, do
Crazy,
you know how many
man.
white boys get out of stuff, man? They're talking about,
Yes.
we can't put them in there with those animals.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
First of all, who you call an animal? Right. All right, but let's go to the Webster's definition, all right, of gang. Group, but we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. So the third is three different definitions by Webster's. The third definition is a gang would be a set of articles, and it says outfit. I mean, maybe that's where the Chicago outfit. I mean, that name was cold.
Mm-hmm.
This worked. Now it's an entendre. Okay. And then they said a gang of oars, a combination of similar implements or devices arranged for convenience to act together. For instance, like a gang of saws, just like a grouping. That's the third definition. The second definition is a group of persons having informal and usually close social relations, watching TV with the gang, or you might say the guys, right? Watching TV with the gang. So that's a group of persons or a clique. Now, the first definition, which I found a trip, I didn't know that it would be this: a group of persons working to unlawful or antisocial ends, especially a band of antisocial adolescents. He threw that in there. I guarantee you that wasn't in there back in the day. I bet you that, yeah, they had to put that adolescents, antisocial adolescents. Ooh, Webster's. So it says a group of persons working to unlawful or antisocial ends. So that could be any organization, whether it's a fraternal order of police, whether it's the, Black Gangster Disciples, if you want to say so, whether it's the, the Vice Lords, anything of this nature. A group of persons working to, it could be a church. Okay, it could be some deacons in a church. A group of persons working to unlawful or antisocial ends. It could be Congress. It could be the city council. But it says, and then especially a band of antisocial adolescents, and then a group of persons working together. That's a gang. So interesting.
Very. Yeah, they had to add that first definition recently or something. That has not been
associated with the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Or the all unlawful. I wonder what edition that came from.
Correct.
When it was introduced in there.
Correct. You'd like to go to the old stacks and start looking through some of those old Websters in there, boy. Yeah. And just comparing them. That'd be a heck of a video. You know what, stuff? I'm going to see if I can find. I'm sure I could order some of those old books and just take any word and be like, look how this word was defined in this year. Look how it was defined.
You might be able to find those dictionaries online.
Yeah, but
they might not have all of the
prostitute?
same words in there at the app.
Yeah, it might have been prostituted.
Yeah.
Can we say prostituted on?
Yeah,
probably don't want to keep saying
it. I'm talking about a dictionary. I mean,
yeah, but the bots, the bots are ignorant.
That they are.
The bots are ignorant. So that would be the definition of a gang. If anyone in the chat has anything to add or any comments, feel free. A question for you, Self Love, is, and also for the chat, what decade in Chicago would you surmise had the most murders per 100,000 residents?
That I don't know. I know the most murders was in the 70s, but I don't know about the population demographic. That added a whole different.
Sure did.
So I'm
sure did.
Man, I don't know. It could be the 20s or something. I don't know. Anybody out there? Anybody in the chat out there?
So you're taking a stab at you say the 20s.
I'm saying could be. I'll just threw it in the air, threw it against the wall, see if it.
Yeah, that's all we're asking. I mean, if you don't know, we're asking you to take a guess at it.
That's what, yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I probably would have guessed somewhere in the 70s. But I'll give you a quick breakdown. In 1870, there were 2.6 murders per 100,000. In 1880, there's 5.4. 1890, 7.0. 1910, 9.2. The 1920s, 10.5. 1930s, 14.6. 1940s, this is when my mom was born, this is what they were born into, 7.1. 1950s, 7.9. You know, a lot of Kool-Aid could be put down during those times, can't it? 1960s, the roaring 60s, 10.3. 1970, the 70s, this is what we were born into, 24.0.
So still was.
There's that jump, and put a pin right there, Self, because you were making comments about integration and a whole lot of stuff that happened at that time that destroyed us. And look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Coach, you out there, the numbers don't lie. And Pookie doing all, and Pookie, and the numbers don't lie. Look at these numbers, Coach. Pookie ain't doing all this. We had Mayor Daley in that video that none of y'all watched that we played in the beginning. We talking about the original Mayor Daley. Did a lot of shit around this time.
A whole lot.
Yes, we're gonna address that, and I want you to address that. So from 60 to 70, 24, that's a hell of a jump. In the 80s, okay, so 24.0. In the 80s in Chicago, it was 28.7. So then that's when I think LB, remember my little homie that was on here. Yeah. So he came up when he was born, it was 28.7. And then when he was, 10, so when we was 10 and early teens, it was 28.7. And by the time he hit that, it was 32.9, bro. And then in 2000, it dropped to in the 2000s, it dropped to 22.1. That's per 100,000. So I want to unpack real quick. Well, not real quick necessarily, but there's some jumps there in murder. Okay, you mentioned the 20s. I'd say from something did happen, which we're going to discuss around the 20s and the 30s. And then they got it back under control, it appeared, through the 60s. Of course, that could be all that wars, those wars people might have been tired of killing. But then the 70s, Self, this is where we're at. What was your theories? What happened? What do you think led to that, man? We were doing so good, bro. You saw it. What happened? Was it white flight? Talk to me.
Yeah, destruction of the family, of the black family. It was the beginning of it, like when they just really tore it down. Became a lot of single parentage, and the silverbacks had to leave the house in a lot of cases. They weren't there to protect the youth, and as I said earlier, gangs became, family for a lot of guys that they really didn't have nobody. Definitely not no male that could, mentor them and tell them, no, don't mess with that. It was the guys. The guys had, the money, cars, the women, and they went in that direction. In the 70s, there was a lot of the outfit too. It was
well, let's before you go to the 70s, I'm going to comment on the 60s. There was a lot of that redlining going on, and the white folks started moving to the suburbs. Yeah, but that's coming later in the series, because we're just sticking up to the 50s. But yeah, so in the 60s and early 70s, that's when you had that white flight, bro.
Yes, it was serious too.
And then we were starting businesses. Eventually, they left with their businesses. Things got bad. We started building businesses, no matter who it was, but black men were building businesses. And then, the mayor, they started doing stuff and tearing down the projects, history of that, and moving people into areas that they wanted to gentrify. I mean, man.
That's how long they've been planning it.
Man, yes. And then the sun came and just,
yeah. But that's though. These plans that these pink people have cannot be carried out in one lifetime.
Generation. Right.
It's got to be follow up and follow up and follow up for it to get to where it is now. And they've been planning that since he was there, because he built the projects, to do that.
Wow.
And to gentrify these other areas once they got, turned black or whatever, and they couldn't use the covenants and the deeds to say that they couldn't sell to a black person. They deemed that unconstitutional, and a lot of us was able to move into certain communities we couldn't before, and them people flew out of there.
Facts. And then I know there was a lot of migrating too, and then people were getting dropped in the slums, so quote unquote slums, looking for jobs, and they ran into Chi-Town, and Chi-Town has been Chi-Town for quite some time, and that's what we're here to unpack, because for whatever reason, this Chicago gangster stuff that we don't glorify whatsoever, that we pay homage to all the people who passed and who were murdered, and who are rotting in prison right now, and condolences to all their families. We do this just with nothing but respect, because we are real close to this, and so that's where we are now. I want to, so I did break that down. Let me ask you this, so along those lines then, so that we can do this and stay on point. Who were the original gangsters in Chicago? But hold that, we got a comment. Marty says, I'll say that it was the end of the Vietnam War, and there was no work for the veterans, and the African American men left the homes for the women to try to raise young black men. Yes, that's come up a lot too, Marty, and Tori has even brought that up in previous shows. Yes, and so as you know, a lot of guests. Yes, man, but all of that happening wasn't coincidence. All of that happening at one time, and then that murder rate going up like that.
Definitely
I mean, Chicago was 2.6, 5.4, 7.0. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
And then in our lifetime, it's been this place of
Yeah.
You know, now, but so I want to ask you, who were the original gangsters in Chicago, and when? When would you say that these OGs? We're talking Chicago OGs.
Well,
wait, Self Love.
Yeah.
Hold on, Self Love.
All right.
No, that's right. I thought I had gotten ahead of myself. So yeah, go ahead, bro.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to, just for not knowing the Italians and the Irish in Chicago. I'm not sure about the Irish names, but Al Capone and people of that ilk come to mind.
Well, Capone definitely wasn't Irish, but
no, but there's an Irish. He's Italian. There was an Irish thing going on here too.
Absolutely. Just wanted to be clear on
right.
Saying Capone wasn't Irish. Damn right he wasn't.
Yeah.
But absolutely, there was the quote unquote poor Irish immigrants. So when they got to this country, they had to deal with tyranny and oppression, and they started to form groups to stand against tyranny and oppression. But just to get go into like a short history, Chicago in the mid 1800s, Self Love, I don't know if you knew this, was actually on stilts. The city sat on stilts for the most part because it had the occasion to flood. That's because they removed all of the prairie, similar to New Orleans. Man, it's just tripped out, man. How Chicago and New Orleans has some sort of spiritual link. But Chicago in the mid 1800s was on stilts, which literally created an underground. And I remember I was a shorty. Everybody used to talk about the underground, but there was literally an underground, and it was under Chicago. It's crazy. Now, the mafia, La Costa Nostra, our thing that no one talks about. That you're born, as a child, don't mess with the mafia. We don't talk about certain things. There are gonna be guys that come around, give you money, and ask you to, knock down political signs or things like that, and you put that cash in your pocket. You don't say nothing. Or you may not, this never happened. But the point I'm making is the mafia, according to my research, originated in the hills of Sicily. Okay. As a result, it formed as a result to tyranny. Apparently, Mussolini, okay, at some point got to power. The mafia was offering Mussolini protection. Mussolini, this is one theory, refused the offer. So the mafia had so much power because they were just the community, they were the people. So the mafia ordered the townspeople. Imagine this power. Imagine if the people can do something like this. The ordered the townspeople. Sounds a little Jeff Forty, if I do say so. But he ordered the townspeople not to show up to any of Mussolini's rallies. And Mussolini was embarrassed because he's there trying to do a rally and nobody showed up. It wasn't, no, I'm going to go out there anyway. I don't care what the mafia say. I don't care what they say. Niggas, I don't care what they. I'm just going to do it my own thing. You can get a job. Mussolini hiring. No, it wasn't none of that. But because I think people knew where their bread was buttered. And that goes back to the gang members of today. Butter the bread. What's that, so?
It were uncode, or you could be caught with out your head.
But at the same time, they were also buttering people's bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just about, knocking people in the head. You had to butter the bread. You were protecting the people from tyranny. That's what it was about. And so the people took care of you as you took care of the people. That they were doing what the governments are supposed to do, what the governments were not doing. Now, so Mussolini's self-love started locking them up. And so many of the families then fled to the United States. Now, there's an alternative view is that the mafia was established in direct response to Mussolini's tyranny. The five families combined to provide and protect for the people. That would have been, and they said so when they came to the U.S., the mafia's first appearance in the U.S., as far as when it started getting known, in October 15th, 1869 in New Orleans. A police commissioner by the name of David Hennessy. He was murdered execution style. And so that's when the mafia put America on notice. Before Prohibition, drug dealing, they made money before Prohibition, mainly through drug dealing, pimping, and extortion. So let me say that again. There's a whole lot of white supremacy out there. Talking about how the mafia didn't involve themselves in drugs. There's a whole lot of nonsense on the news, about how they were, wore suits and did everything right, and the black thugs are just animals. Well, prior to Prohibition, the way they made their money was peddling drugs, pimping women, or the prostitution. They call it sex trafficking now, and extortion, which some people may call security. You guys like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. We got Marty Elkin says Capone used an underground tunnel that stretched from Cermak all the way to the Wisconsin border. Wow. Yeah, I know when he went to Cicero, he had underground tunnels too. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that the city was built on stilts. That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and it's still got an underground because Lower Wacker and all that area is there.
Correct. And it was a similar area, but yes, a bunch of the city was on stilts. They had pictures of it. I was like, wow, all that must have burned down, during the Chicago fire. And that's where the whole term underground came from. Like when you hear it worldwide, there was literally an underground.
Facts. A place, not just a
on the underground, right?
Similar.
Yes, it wasn't just a metaphor; it was both.
Metaphor, yeah. Yes, it was, yeah. Actual, factual.
Yeah. So let me ask you this then, so because we kind of touched on it, and this is for the chat. Benefits. Any benefits that these gangs will serve the community and serve the individual gang member?
Yeah, I mean, it's a family situation for a lot of them, and they started to protect the area they were in from tyranny or other groups. If it wasn't the government, it was other groups right around the area, you know what I mean, that didn't want you there or was there to exploit you. So banding together to fight all of that and help the community makes sense.
Man, and you're dealing with limited resources. There wasn't the welfare type of stuff. Pooling, you basically made a corporation.
Yeah.
Facts. You incorporated probably before it was legal to do so. So I would definitely say that those are also benefits. Yeah. Personal protection as well. financial
Absolutely.
gain in some ways.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, yeah. All of the above.
All right. Well, now I talked about the mafia and when they came to America, and then they were in New York and and then they were in New Orleans. They murdered the cop. But Capone, we all know about him. But in January of 1920, that's when the 18th Amendment um, became law. It banned alcohol. Um, so what that did was, the mafia, the criminal element, they knew how great the profits were going to become. So they started bootlegging, and that's when the bloody war started. And that sounds really no different than when crack hit and the
Facts.
profits.
Facts.
Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. People were struggling and poor, and so they started killing. In February of 29, about the St. Valentine's Day murder. I think they taught me that in school. Guess they couldn't get around that. Um, let's see, the Obanion Gang. This was the North Side Gang, and that was Bugs Moran was the lieutenant. All right, but let's back up a bit. Al Capone was born in Brooklyn. Okay, he lived there in the slums in Brooklyn until he was 10 years old. And his family comes from a good family. I think think one of them was an educator, one of his parents, and the other one had like a blue collar job. But so they were able to move him out of the slums and into a good neighborhood, on the good side of town. But somehow he still chose the street life. He dropped out in the 6th grade. Um, he slapped after slapping his teacher, and he got beat down by the principal. Um, he had a big homie that he looked up to that moved to Chicago. We'll get there shortly. But Capone got the scar because he was working, I think, at a bar, and he made a comment to a girl. And so the girl's brother was a gangster, was a capo, and put that scar on him. And he was ashamed of that scar his entire life. Never looked at it as a badge of honor. But he had a big homie who he looked up to that was a gangster that moved to Chicago. He moved Capone to Chicago in 1919. And that's where Capone became a lieutenant for a mafia, what they call a mafia vice lord self. And the mafia referred to the vice lords as the people who, the capos, the captains, who are in control of vice. Um, but so that was Johnny Torrio. Johnny Torrio, who I guess Capone was, working for, who was controlling the vice, who was the vice lord. They started a truce because they said the killing was too bad. Because during this Prohibition era, as you were alluding to, 700 people were murdered. Okay, during Prohibition, we're talking Tommy guns. We're talking riding, on the edge of cars and just shooting people up. I will say this though: the innocent were not being shot. All right, the innocent was not dying. Um, okay, so um, let's go forward a little. Capone moved because this isn't about Capone; it's about gangs, but can't talk about it without Capone. So Capone had Chicago eventually locked because he, had all the politicians paid, which we'll get into some theories on that. I think that Chicago has a lot of old money and old thugs, and they let flash in the pants, Scarface type people come around and just burn out like a shooting star and make that guy the fall guy like the Chief Keefs, and then they just keep moving. And it's just been going on. And those who are really pulling the strings just keep stuffing money in their pocket. And that's what I'm feeling. But I'm digressing. So after the 700 people were murdered, we had a no-nonsense mayor. His name is escaping me now. But so Capone moved to Cicero, and that actually made it better for him because Cicero was a whole town like Silverdale, where they were able to, get people elected and things of this nature and run the entire town. They said he rigged the 1924 Cicero elections. In 1924, Capone's brother got murdered by 12. His brother was murdered by 12. Again, his brother was murdered by 12. That changed something in Al Capone. He also took over the Chicago Heights area by joining forces with the gangsters in Chicago Heights and bootlegging more liquor. Let's see here. We'll park it there. We'll just park it there. Comments on any of that stuff?
All interesting information. I knew about Chicago Heights and Cicero. Just unpacked a lot. And I heard Torio's name before, but I don't remember it. It's not part of my my education purposes. I don't, know it now, but never really mattered before. And they act like Capone made itself.
Yes, that's how they act like Capone made himself. Correct.
Yeah,
and he was only in Chicago for 10 years, bro.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Right. The guy wasn't born in Chicago.
I know he wasn't born here too. I was like, I knew he
correct, but all that he did was 10 years.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And he gets credit. He gets credit for everything. All of the gang activity in Chicago that was going on before he even got there.
Right.
I mean, you had Irish gangs, you had Jewish gangs.
Yeah. Right.
You know.
They stayed out of the news out there. William Hale Thompson was one of the mayor of Chicago during that time.
Yes, that's the mayor. Because I knew it was another Thompson. I think we had another Mayor Thompson later, or he lost the election, and I don't know if he was related. But yes, Michael Thompson. We had another Thompson, and I was like, oh, okay. I wonder if he's related. But that's the one. Marty Elkins says, Smoke G said, Bumpy Johnson saved Lucky Luciano's butt at Alcatraz. That's how he was able to keep Harlem. And he said Al Capone used to stay on 71st and Calumet at one time. Yeah, Southside guy, man. And he said it was actually 72nd and Prairie. Okay. And then Marty Elkins said William Hale Thompson. Yes. Yes, Marty. Yeah. Yeah, Tori just said that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. Let's see where we're at. So give me a second here. You guys like, share, subscribe.
Hit the bell. Hit the bell. So you're notified every time we go live or upload a video. Subscribe to the information.
Facts. So yeah, so basically where we're at is that you had these Irish gangs. As we know, a lot of the Irish became 12. Chicago police has a history. The Irish, that's where you get the term paddy wagon from. Because that was like I guess a racial term used towards Irish, I guess. And that's where that comes from. So you had that going on. I think immigrants would get here and they would be struggling with poverty. But because they can just meld in and just call themselves white once they drop that accent and move away. See, we can drop the accent, but we can't drop what?
The melanin.
Correct. And along those lines, Self, if people say, well, don't, fill out this mark and tell people that you're black, because they're using it against you, which has been proven. You know what I mean? Are you black? Are you black? Even with the census. But hell, I guess, aren't we doing the same thing when we give them our DNA? We're telling them we're black and where we live. In fact, they know you're black.
Yeah. Not necessarily where you live, though. But, yeah.
Where are they sending the kit to?
You can buy a kit in the store.
I think they know your location because you have to give some kind of information for them to know who you are. And if they know who you are, then they know where you are. You don't agree? Or you do agree?
I guess I do and I don't. Because knowing who you are doesn't necessarily say where you are. You've collected money, you've skip traced people that weren't,
But
nowhere
isn't the
tied to
point
their
of it?
name.
They're getting this database and they're saying, okay, these people are here and they're in this area. Because then they're telling people, isn't that the whole point? Is to know where they're located? Isn't that how they're using the data? They're saying these people are in this part of the world. Therefore, if you send your information, you're probably related to these people in this part of the world.
Yeah, well, once again, I don't think that it has much necessarily. Maybe I'm splitting hairs. Not necessarily where you are located.
Okay,
That's
they
where
might
your
not know
people are
your home
located.
address or your house, but they know your general location where they can drop a bomb or drop poison in the water or fuck the community and say, okay, there's 100,000 of these people sending DNA and these are all the black people in this area. Can we agree to that?
They could do that. I mean,
yeah, but I guess they could do that on site.
Well, at least in Chicago, they can just know what neighborhood.
That's what I'm saying. They can do that everywhere because we're black. Yeah.
Yeah, on site. Yeah.
Yeah.
This, especially in Chicago though, because it's very segregated.
I still say the only solution is young men get out there and impregnate all the women, all of them. That's got to be the only solution, man. Everybody's got to be black. That's what the white man fears the most.
Yeah.
But all right, well, so then we talked about the St. Valentine's. Then there was a big public outcry though after the St. Valentine's Day murder. Al Capone opened up the first soup kitchen during the Depression.
Yeah.
I mean, the first soup kitchen in the history of soup kitchens were opened up by this gangster.
Yeah, I mean,
you didn't learn about that in history. At least I did.
I've heard that before, but I didn't learn it in school or anywhere else that I heard about the component. And I was grown, and I
think
was
I knew
looking
he had
into
a
something.
soup thing, but I didn't know it was the first one. And I didn't know he created this whole concept.
Right, me either.
You know what I mean? You got all these gangsters with the turkey giveaways, and you see all these charities doing this and that, and this philanthropist. I didn't know he was the philanthropist that started that.
Right.
I mean, let's give him some credit there. He was convicted of tax evasion, and they gave him 11 years. So to date, that is the biggest sentence to date of anyone for tax evasion. That's crazy.
Yeah, because they couldn't catch him on anything else.
And he used to tell him that.
And then they changed the law to catch him.
Yes, that's what they'll do. They move the bar.
Yes.
But they said he was generous with the money, man. He was making so much, and he wasn't one of those guys just spend it all on himself. That's what made him so powerful.
He had a whole lot coming in, so he,
yes,
it was going to be difficult to spend it all. So he was like, just, these people,
yes,
they need to eat.
So he had it was a news guy that was doing his job in Cicero. He got the crap beat out of him. They never said it was Capone's guys, but everybody felt like it was. Somebody caught him, beat the dog crap out of him with soap in the socks. That was Capone's big weapon. So they kill people like that. Hit them in the back of the head with it. So I said, dude saw him. He said it. He was like, man, I just balled up in the fetal position. He said he just balled up in the fetal position. Yeah, they put him in the hospital. Capone paid his bills. That's the type of dude Capone was. Send guys to beat you up, give you a warning, and pay your hospital bills. Classy, huh? Huh? Classy, huh?
That's hilarious.
But that he paid a lot of people's hospital bills, bro. But I'm not, glorifying Capone because he was doing the dirt, but he was the guy that was they said what he was doing if prohibition was legal, that was the thing about it. It should have been legal. Alcohol should have been
right.
legal. He said he was just giving the people what they wanted.
And getting paid handsomely for it. So
correct. But that's where, like my little homie say, we messed up the crack game. It was the people at the top was just taking too much, bro. That's the thing. Everybody in the community has to want to protect you. If you're just doing donuts in the parking lot and shooting at everybody and sleeping with all the women and, not even spending money in the community, not opening up a business, not doing anything, then what's in it for us? What's in it for the community?
Man, communities get destroyed.
My property value's going down. I mean, you know what I mean? What's in it? Hey, well, you snitching. What's in it for me not to snitch? Besides, snitches get stitches. But I mean, besides that, I mean, come on, it's got to be more. And that's what I was trying to say. Capone would do that. He would offer you more than fair money. You know what I mean? And that was said by people. And then people will come to you, Tori, like say he would offer you that money for your house. And this is, no, I can't, no. And then you go talk to somebody like, some guy came over here, who was it? Jeff Fort. And then what happened? You know what I mean? And then somebody's like, no, you don't say no to him. And then they come back and offer you more money and you don't say no to him. And they offer you more money. It wasn't like he was just coming over and pistol whipping you and taking everything for the free.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Offer you can't refuse. It sounds like The Godfather was they based that a lot off him, huh?
It had to be, and a few others, but yeah, because he was a beast. They didn't play.
Man, they said that his accountant. So he actually had an accountant. They would keep those guys paid and protected. And they said one of the distributors of the alcohol, put hands on the accountant. Somehow, yes, Capone's personal accountant. So that's like you the man and somebody beating down your personal accountant. It's like, man, that's they might as well attack you.
Yeah.
They said Capone went and put that work in allegedly himself. So they said if you think Capone was just one of those, I'm paying everybody. No, they said he had that temper on him sometimes where, yeah. And some people have said that about some of the other guys, and Free Larry, Free Jeff Fort. Some people be saying about, some of the other guys too, that some of these guys were more handsy than you might have thought they were, Mills. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Gangsters.
Real talk.
Real talk. All right, so here we go. So they said so soup kitchen, tax evasion. Oh yeah, okay. And then so he went to Alcatraz. He went on the Rock in 1934, and in 1938 he contracted syphilis, and he died in 1947 from syphilis because they said he had a thing for the honeypots, prostitutes and stuff.
He caught it while he was in prison?
I don't think so, but it's possible because he was having conjugal visits, man.
Yeah,
They said Capone was living that was part of his deal. Good. Yeah.
Smoke G said, don't leave out Capone caught syphilis when he was a bouncer and never got it treated.
Okay, let's see. Yeah.
Martin Elkin says, when you guys get a chance, watch The Boardwalk Empire.
It breaks down all of the organized mob ties during Prohibition.
Bumpy J beat a dude down at Alcatraz that was gonna kill Lucky Lou.
All right, that's
when you guys get a chance, watch the Boardwalk Empire. Breaks down all the organized mob ties during Prohibition. Show aired on HBO. Don't Leave Al Capone got syphilis when he was a bouncer, never got treated. Oh, so when he was at that first bar working for the vice lord, you're saying that's when he got the syphilis? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So he was walking around with syphilis because they were saying he was crazy.
A long time, yeah.
Correct.
Probably
so some of that,
all 10 years, probably.
So some of that stuff he was doing was probably as a result of his brain just being like messed up.
Yeah.
Not firing right if the syphilis was eating away at his brain.
He had it all that damn time.
That's crazy, man. Something that he could have got cleared up with a simple shot, bro. Right?
Hated needles. I did hear that.
Yeah, but don't you hate brain senility more?
Man, they didn't think about that.
Thoughts
about medicine. I can't. They ain't doing nothing to me. I'm yeah.
I know. I hear you, bro.
Still works. I can still.
He's such a gangster that nobody's gonna knock him over the head for his own good and give him the damn shot. Like, who didn't just slip him a Mickey so he can go the fuck to sleep and give him the shot? And he let him wake up mad and like, nigga, you got the shot. No, you don't do that to Capone, huh? Because he wake up and kill you anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
But they make him out to be. That's what they make him out to be anyway. You know what I mean? Supreme gangster. Yo. Y'all hear the music? That means we're at halftime. Yeah. So today we've been breaking down home of the OG gangbangers, where ain't nobody shy. Get the 5 W's on Mecca. Thank y'all for coming and checking us out. Please like, share, subscribe. Share it far and wide so we can grow. As y'all know, we're doing this thing organically and we're growing it naturally, and we need your help. So if you could share with 3 to 9 like minds, that will help us immensely.
Thanks.
We got a few videos here during halftime. Y'all know how we do it. Stay edutained, and we'll see you shortly.
And even in this instance, if I could be of service to a 9-year-old girl or a 19-year-old woman or girl who wants to be a woman, is to really remember that self-love is the best way that you can receive love from anybody else, because it's coming from you. A lot of times we forget that. We look externally for this love. We look externally for this feeling of validation and adoration and approval, and it has to come from within.
Close call. This South Carolina man walking in the rain when a lightning bolt struck just feet from him. You can see the bolt hit the ground, causing the man to jump back. He threw his umbrella down, then quickly picked it back up and ran off. He says he felt the shock, but is just thankful not to have any major injuries. This though, what a close call.
He's so close.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's crazy. That had to be crazy.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Click the ABC7 logo to subscribe to our Eyewitness News YouTube channel.
OG on the bass, nigga.
What are you looking at, slave? Poets tend to bear all, to expose all. At least the dope ones do. Rest up, my boy. 12 pigs with lipstick. First prize badge for the fattest 12 dipshits. In cute little blue SS uniforms. Sad, chicken little. Livers and gizzards so brittle. Pigs to slaughter. Lambs of the creation. Pigs blowing 7 horns of 7 nations. 12 unicorns added 1 giant leap just for reverberation. I got a feeling. I got a feeling. Yes. What? I got a feeling that swine ain't healthy or appealing. I got a feeling that soon the kings will rise and start doing the kneeling. I got that feeling. 12.
You guys for inviting me on. Thank you. Great format. Very solid. You know, it don't have that low budget movie feel. You know what I'm saying? And we get that a lot in the Black community, for real. Yeah. Like people look at us to be fuck ups. They look at us to be low budget. They look at us to be ignorant, like stuttering, and use a whole bunch of and all of that. But no, they got the real deal on here. That everybody know who Torian Mills is, baby. They know.
Hey, well, bro,
They so ignorant.
Ignorant.
So
hey, but this platform's your platform. This platform's my platform. From Inglewood, California to
the
Chicago,
South Shore.
Crazy thing about it.
This platform is
made for you and me.
It's made for you.
The crazy and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. I was trying to get out the end of the preamble, but go ahead, bro.
I'ma give it all and I won't
Yes,
slow.
sir.
Show the world what they don't know. I'ma be the one. I'ma be the one when I'm done. If I made it this far, I'll go higher.
We're back. Welcome to the Self Luv Show. So we're breaking down home of the OG gangbangers where ain't nobody shy. Get the 5 W's on Mecca. And this my joint. Can turn it up a little bit. Thank you, production. Woo. Check out Trife Mac. From the Shy Gardens, Silverback.
By any means necessary, walk in your hand is what you need. I don't care if you gotta sell weed or on the block selling cats, burn DVDs. Gotta breathe, cause I know the ball's heavy there. And it's also that's in me, I'ma take it everywhere I go. I'ma give it all and I won't slow. I'ma show the world what they don't know. I'ma be the one. I'ma be the one.
That is fair use.
We have his explicit use, so.
Man, like Emerge McVeigh is posting something right now. I wish I don't want to put it up because he just put it up. So
yeah,
let's get back to the thing. Like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. We're gonna get into the second half real fast. As we said, we want to move it all the way up until around 1950, and then we're gonna pick up the rest next Tuesday. This next Tuesday, we're gonna hit from the 60s, and then through 70s, and then a week after that, we'll do the 70s to the 80s, and then the 80s and the 90s and so forth. We'll have to do it decade by decade to kind of do it some justice, self-love.
Yeah, agreed.
Man. And let's see here. Big ups to Wiz Kids. Nah, never mind. What the hell that is. But all right. Anyway, so we were kind of unpacking this earlier. We were going through that jump.
Man.
It's just a complete destruction of our sense of self in our communities, bro.
Yeah, that's devastating.
Bro, we haven't recovered.
Well, it's planned for us not to recover, so we have to plan to recover. And every time somebody planned to recover, it's been cut short. So Panthers and as such.
Man, Operation Project, Operation Move.
Yeah.
Isn't that their name in Philly? Something like that?
Oh, Move, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Yeah.
One of them still in where he wasn't. One of them, yeah, he was. He was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's still like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some crapulous tyranny. He's locked up still.
Yeah, but to unpack it, so I mean, it would take, one of the elders should be able to put their fingers on this too. Again, 1960, there was 10 murders in the city of Chicago. Well, in the 60s, in that decade, there was an average of 10.3 murders per 100,000 residents.
Yeah.
And then in the 70s, it jumped to 24. It's over 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Increase.
You say
it's almost like 150% increase.
Yeah.
Be like 138% somewhere around
there. Yeah. 140. Yep.
That's crazy.
It's got to be.
So you mentioned the silverbacks out of the picture. We have to unpack that.
Yeah.
We have to unpack that because it kind of gets glossed over, and that is the solution. We got to unpack that, and also what happened with the churches, the families. We got to unpack that. So
it's also something during the 70s that the outfit and them people was on something too.
What do you mean outfit?
The outfit, got this. I got on Illinois jersey or whatever. Not that, but the outfit during the
Chicago
70s.
Outfit.
Yeah.
You talking about the mafia?
Yeah, or all of them. Because
come on, I don't know what you're talking about. You got to give me different words.
All right, the mafia, the Irish, the Jewish, those there was something.
Oh, okay, I got you. You're saying that the organized crime,
yes,
ratcheted up something against us too.
It wasn't all against us. I'm talking about they were killing each other. So
okay, well, explain what you're talking about, so I don't misunderstand you, and then you tell me you're not talking about it.
It wasn't just us killing each other during the 70s. As opposed to the numbers, a lot of the numbers being us against us.
I got you.
In the 90s, let's say.
Okay. You're saying necessarily all this crime wasn't necessarily black on black. The majority of it wasn't necessarily.
Right.
Okay.
During the 70s. That's
correct. When it initially changed. That's a good point. And we'll that is a good point. And I guess as we unpack when the white social groups were doing their thing. Good point. Yes, definitely a good point. Well, yes, I'll put a pin to get there. That hadn't even crossed my mind, bro.
Yeah.
Hmm. And a lot of that would have been white on black crime and vice versa.
Yeah, and white on white too, because they were
Correct. And white on Hispanic and Hispanic on Hispanic.
Yeah. Yes.
Correct. There's a lot of killing going on.
Yes. The most, ain't it? I mean, the most numbers.
Yes.
The totality, but maybe not the most average.
It wasn't per 100,000. Correct.
Right. It was the most total.
Correct. Because remember, there was more residents in Chicago then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Remember, this was right around the flight.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Let's see. Smoke G said,
hey, man,
go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Chicago is the city itself is like the original gangster. It was, you build up your city, you got a little city out around here and you build it up and they just annex it. You part of this now.
Bro, I saw that in that. Yes. All those cities got gangsters by Chicago. Yeah. And the people move was like, screw y'all.
Yeah. Facts. That's
over there where you are.
It
was its own city.
Oh yeah. Had Park went all the way to 93rd, bro.
Wow.
That where I got my hips replaced at, it's a map in there and it talking about it was part of Hyde Park.
Yeah, Gresham, all of that, bro. That little area, all that was like its own municipality kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Gangsters Chicago was like, no, you with us now.
Offer you can't refuse. You don't have a choice.
And next.
Pay your taxes. Yeah. Big ups to Chicago, man. All right. In the 70s, though, so I do want to mention so where were the Black fathers? This seems like when the block clubs started to fall apart, people used to get up and go to church, put olive oil on the kid's face. Everybody has some structure. You learn who the old people, who the elders were, how to respect them and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You learn who the other kids were. You know what I mean? And this church might have hooked up with that church and had a function. I shouldn't be shooting at that kid. You know what I mean? At least you were able to say, I shouldn't be shooting at that kid. You might go, what? Put paws on him.
Yeah.
Hit him with a bat.
It was community then. So, when the community started falling apart, that's when the family structure started falling apart, that's when it just all crumbled. It was crumbling from all areas, the government trying to push us out, the black silverbacks out the house and out the neighborhood, thus, the role models, black flight.
Joe Brown was talking about a crime bill around that time that he said was worse than the 90s crime bill.
Yeah, you're right.
They start locking up brothers in droves.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I think they know they have to do a certain amount of that every so often to keep the population right around that 10 to 13% that they allege it's been forever. They've done some numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They crunch them.
Yeah. And they factor in the abortions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I guess the abortion is can you say abortion? Can we say abortion?
Yeah, I think you can.
I don't know what I can say.
You can abort the mission.
Well, with Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, that's all a factor.
That all started then. Yeah.
Man, so many people, so many people just come up missing, man. Like every year, it's a crazy number.
Does women's liberation have anything to do with it? Because I would think it put more people in the job market it made it easier to hire a homosexual or female than it is to hire a silverback black male.
Well, the double minority status they get credit for. So, and it would destroy the family if you made the black woman independent.
Yeah.
You know, that would destroy the family.
If you made it more likely to hire the black woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because that's
I don't want to pussyfoot around the topic. You know what I mean? You know, not saying you do, but I don't want to pussyfoot around it. You know, I've come to it. You know, this is how we start this show. If people are going to be offended. You know, we got a whole video in the beginning. Whoa.
Yeah, and we're not here to offend, but we're going to stay true to the Self Luv Nation. It's no way that we're gonna allow someone's hurt feelings over facts dictate what we got going on here. We're silverbacks and we're silverbacking. This is the Self Luv Show, not the pandering show or whatever else you want to do or say or have people you know, people political correctness to not offend when you're just telling the truth. You know what I mean? It's no way around that.
Facts. And like, share, subscribe. We got from Marty said, well, Smoke G said that Capone went crazy from not getting it treated. You know, I think that made him a little more hellified. People were like, this guy, all because he never got over his fear, allegedly, of needles.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. And Marty said that was a long time to be having the package. Smoke G said the mob was big in the 70s, still are, but yes, they were more out front. And then he said Crips and Bloods didn't start until 60, 70, 69, 70. And then there was Lords and Stones in the early 60s. Yeah. And we're going to get there, though. We're going to get there. But before we get there, we got to talk about the original gangbangers. The Pink People, 12, you know, whether y'all want to call them Italians, Irish, you know, what have you. That's what we want to talk about. That's what this first show is about. But all of that you're saying is accurate. And we are going to get into that more towards the second show, Smoke G. More towards the second episode, which will be Tuesday.
So greatly appreciate your support, Smoke G.
Man, we need more guys like that with the history, kicking some knowledge. That's right. So we definitely appreciate your support. And all you guys out there, we appreciate that support. All right, so I think we unpacked it. And then the 80s, you know, we're going to say that's when crack. So all this is planned. So according to you, and I've been looking at that, even with the technology, you've been saying that societies, you know, they don't unravel stuff on us because they're planning stuff way out ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and so they divvy it out, you know, which works best for them.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that, bro. And the same thing. So if the 70s, they were, go ahead, bro, go ahead.
First they come with a film. And then after the film, after some time, the technology in the film is released to the public. And, you know, it's all planned. They got this technology. They're, you know, way advanced. My estimations, at least a couple 100 years in advance.
Yeah, so in the 70s, it was to knock the head off of the community, so to speak, remove the men, you know, the silverbacks, and then add other things, as we mentioned. So then those would have been the people who've been telling the kids, no, don't put those needles in your arm. No, don't sell the heroin. No, don't sell the cocaine. No, get that out of our communities. Those have been those people, right?
Yeah.
Get those out of the way, right? And then have a child growing up with, I got to be the man and I got to support my mama. Mama raising the child, you a baby boy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Facts.
And then so now baby boys out there with a gun and crack. We're starting into the 80s, right?
Yeah. Facts.
Definitely the mid 80s to the late 80s, definitely.
They got rid of all of the heads.
Correct.
Of,
and it was planned.
Yes.
The timing of it wasn't happenstance.
Not
So
at all.
I'm even thinking all these President's Award, those type of scholarships, that was part of getting silverback potential out of the neighborhood too. All of that.
Yeah.
Anybody who would help, who could help, is not going to be in the picture. You're going to have some that go off to college and some that go off to prison.
And a lot of times, neither one of them coming back.
Most times. Well, the ones who go off to prison come back. Correct. Yeah. More often than the ones who go off to college.
Yeah. Some of them never come back from prison. So
right. Depending. Yeah.
Right. What they're allegedly have done or what they sentence they got.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, if it's a 187, then yeah. And then even that, you know what I mean? Some of them get out in 7 years, and some of them get the book thrown out. That seems happenstantical. All right, let's see here. I think we've unpacked that. Check. All right. Unless you had something to add, I got another question for you. Okay. All right. Let's have time. All right. So, are you familiar with the white social clubs, the athletic clubs? I don't know if you're watching those old greaser movies like Grease. And, mine is God, I can't think of The Wanderers. Love that movie. So you're familiar with? Well, you're familiar. You had your challenges in Market Park and things like that. You're familiar with the white gang stuff. You familiar with this?
To a certain degree, didn't have a whole lot of interaction because, like I said, Chicago's segregated. And, you know, when you kind of know how to move and know where not to go,
not to be in this neighborhood.
Yeah. So
after dark, especially,
man. Yeah. So I had encounters. I didn't conceptualize them as a gang, though. You know what I mean? But that's exactly what they were. And until you said it now, I never conceptualized them as that. But how they approach me, that's exactly what that was.
Well, that's because of how society has conditioned us. Yeah, they're gangs. And if you look at the early black gangs, we were wearing sweaters and stuff like that too, and had those different types of names. So yeah, you would have these. It was kind of in that book, The Outsiders, kind of touched on it. You saw what was going on there, and it was the rich ones who were smelling their own farts against the poor white trash, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
the greasers, and they would go at it, but they were all gangbanging, and the white ones would be more athletic. They called them athletic clubs, and thus you got the athletic club in Chicago and New York. And I mean, hey, same thing. Says the same thing on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are still open, yet the fort's closed. You know what I mean? But yeah, so just to get into the history of that stuff, that's how pretty much how these gangs were, and these white gangs were to secure their own neighborhood. So you had not gentrification, but segregation started, or was it desegregation? Desegregation. Integration started. Desegregation started, which would be integration. And so the white people went crazy. And so I don't know if the Baphomet, when they're planning their stuff ahead, if they have, the white supremacists right there and saying, hey, you guys are going to have to move differently. You know what I mean? Take those hoods off, do it this way. I would think the head of that would be there at that little meeting.
Yeah.
That they do. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Once
And so they go ahead,
my
bro.
bad. Once they
No, no.
removed the tenant restrictions from the deeds, it opened floodgates for black people or people to move into any neighborhood. And, you know, and also that was the whole redlining thing. They were telling them, oh, your property value is going to go down and blah, blah, blah. And had the people that was there selling very low and leaving and selling very high to the black family. I think that's the reason why some of the tenets for being a realtor were put in place, you know, because those realtors effectively made a big profit off of that, huge, and instead of doing their fiduciary duties, you know what I mean, to their client, they didn't do that. So that caused some of the problems as well, because like you said it earlier, when they left, some of the businesses left and things changed, especially during different times, different periods where it was like destroying the community.
Well, you're talking about following the money, and you know, and these are the cats. Yes, yes. So the realtors were part of the game. The bankers were part of the game.
Yeah.
You know, endowments. I knew that we'll get into it in the future shows. I knew that, you know, the El Rukins had gotten money, but I didn't know that. I think the folks had gotten some money too from Rockefeller or some sort of endowment. Like there was always money being passed around to do what? Now, supposedly they were fighting poverty. I don't know, but all of a sudden there started being all this money getting passed around.
In it, because the Stones got some money too.
Well, that's what I started by saying.
Yeah. Oh, right. It was you're exactly right. Yeah, they had to be passing out some money. They were during that time saying they had job programs and all that stuff you mentioned earlier. So they were supposedly helping the community and moving along those lines. So I don't know exactly when that changed, but they were definitely handing out money.
Facts. And yeah, so I was saying, yeah, I was well aware that they were getting dough, but I didn't know that, you know, these other entities were getting dough as well.
Right.
You know, and so there's a whole lot going on. I even look at, you know, who's funding it. So if you're going to remove our structure, then who are you putting in charge and why? So then are we to say that, who's running it? You know,
right.
We used to say the Stones run it. We used to say the folks run it.
Right.
We're talking about running our communities, you know. So is it the mafia? Is it the Italian mafia? Is it the Mexican cartels? Who's running it? Where's the shit coming from, people?
Right. None of it's made here. No guns. The drugs aren't, you know, manufactured and made here. You know,
at least, but not by no black people nowhere.
Right.
So who's running it? Who are we killing for? That's the ultimate question. I would venture to say, well, we're going to get there throughout this, throughout this series that we're doing here. But yeah, so you mentioned, there were Irish gangs. Chicago is extremely segregated. We had your Italian gangs, and then the Jewish gangs, like you mentioned. They don't talk about them.
Right.
They had their ghettos, and they were riding out. Yeah, nobody talks about them. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and then because they control a lot of stuff in think I'm kicked off.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yep.
You said they control a lot of stuff and what?
They control a lot of the media, and so it's not really explored unless one of them explores it. It gets completely shut down.
There was one of these social, they call them SACs, something, your mom and my mom and, would know. But they refer to them as SACs or SACs, and that's an acronym for social athletic clubs. A lot of them are football players, the jocks, bullying people. You know what I mean? And they were saying that these SACs, there's a group called the Reagan Colts. Reagan Colts. Responsible for the 1919 race riots that nobody taught me about when I was coming up in Chicago public school.
Right.
So there was a gang, a white gang known as the Reagan Colts, that are allegedly responsible for, and these gangs would start off a lot of that stuff. I guarantee you, when they want to kick off a Black Wall Street, Tulsa, they go to their gangs.
Yeah. Facts.
And have plausible deniability, and then put suits on in the media and act like everything's separate.
Yeah.
Right.
Still today.
I'm talking about today.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Today is
So, yeah, gangs are used to create terror, and they were used to secure their neighborhoods from blacks.
Facts.
So the initial gangs it's always about exploiting the weak. Well, it starts out as defending the weak from tyranny, but there's someone exploiting the weak.
Right.
Which is usually a gang. You can call it a cop or a government or whatever it is. But by definition, there's someone exploiting the weak. Even when they say the Crips, the Bloods came as a result of the Crips exploiting them. And the Crips came as a result of, white harassment and white gangs exploiting them. So it seems like they're born out of exploitation and tyranny.
Yeah.
Imagine you and 20 of your family members got off a boat somewhere and everybody's exploiting you guys. And then you and Jazzy and the men said, no, we're going to do this way and this way. We're going to catch him. And then and things are going to start changing. And things start changing. Then they start saying, oh yeah, we're going to not mess with the wordsmiths. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, he's a wordsmith. Yeah. And then they start walking around, I'm a wordsmith. It means something. You know what I mean? Right. Because somebody put that work in.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, Smoke G said the mafia had weight on the feds. They knew Hoover was gay. You gotta clarify which Hoover you're talking about. I know you're not talking about Larry, but
no, you're talking about the feds. He said the feds, so gotta be talking about J. Edgar Hoover.
Obviously he is, but the feds could have been investigating Larry Hoover when you consider he is in a federal jail.
That's facts.
So I couldn't have made that assumption, but I hear you. The media had weight on the feds. They knew Hoover was gay and had picks, and he had to stand down in regards to pursuing them and went after the black groups instead. Yeah, he's talking about J. Edgar.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's the thing about the underground.
Mm-hmm.
They get they be having you compromised. When they say Capone had all these politicians in his pocket, You know, that was shown in, I think, Game of Thrones, and then also maybe in the Matrix series. Yeah, whoever controlling all those honeypots is generally a powerful, powerful person.
Facts.
You know, so if you had 20 bona fide honeypot thoughts running through the hood, 10 in worst hood in, say, Inglewood, worst part of Inglewood, and 10 over in K-Town or Lawndale, you can get a lot of information.
That's true.
A lot of information.
It's absolute facts.
That's what Joe Brown said.
Joe Brown, boy, he shoot from the hip.
He said the government knows that a single mom is the last thing between her child going in the system. And these women be catching these little cases like everybody else, these little petty cases here and there, and they can lose everything.
Yeah.
Meaning that money that's coming in every month, the babies, everything, and they start yapping.
Yeah. Man.
And then another thing, so when you start using these younger gang members and you're not looking at them as independent contractors, and you got these shorties all involved, guess why the snitch level has gone up? Because you got these kids, man.
Yeah.
You got these kids walking around looking at these grown men like, yeah, I can't go to the penitentiary. And I think that's why the mafia wasn't sending them kids out there to do that work like that, because them kids could be, they're going to get tortured by 12. You know what I mean? That's what 12 does. Beat the shit out of people, you know, and try to get information out of them. I'm not saying this is legal or it happens today. I'm not saying that 12. I mean, you know, a lot of people end up with a black eye. You know what I mean? When you see them in their mugshot. But a kid is more likely, I think, to start spilling information. So just like I think a kid is more likely to spill information in a fraternity. If you got a kid in a fraternity and then some grown people got a hold of them and said, spill it or we're going to kill.
Just intimidation alone. A child, you know, is more likely to be intimidated
Hell yeah.
telling information. I mean, that's
yes.
So having them privy to all the information
any information is stupid.
Yes.
Yep.
Completely need to know. Completely need to know.
Yep. Yep. Their involvement should be like it was with the mafia. Remember, they had limited. That's all they were doing, moving this from here to there. You know, running some numbers, dropping this off, bringing this bag there and there. That's it. All I know is I was dropping it, you know, there, you know, in a garbage can somewhere. That's it. You know, and you can beat the crap out of the kid. The kid, that's all the kid knows. You gotta let this kid go. I mean,
right. You don't have nothing. You didn't get nothing.
Just like
out
so,
the kid.
when they used to pay kids to, you know, take down the opposing mayor sign, and somebody was, you know, the mayor sign, that was free money for the young black kids. They didn't tell us what we didn't need to know, did they?
Yeah.
No. Y'all go knock down, take down all them signs, whatever. And when you come back, and here's some money, when you come back, we give you the rest. That was it. So if the police said, who you doing this for? We don't know. She could torture the hell out of us. I don't know. He never gave me a name.
We just decided to do it.
For the money. We let these kids go. Right. Right. You have to let those kids go. These kids don't know any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but now we got ourselves in a position where we're murdering little kids because we don't want them to talk. Well, guess what? They shouldn't even what?
Be privy to the information.
They shouldn't even know. So, let me ask yourself, what are the 3 main reasons gangs form?
Tyranny.
Yeah.
Banding together, like the money.
Yeah, economics. I'm going to agree with all of that. You know, a lot of gang members say a sense of belonging too, you know, kind of like a brotherhood type of experience. But I think what you said is at the foundation of what it's about. at the end of the day, you follow the money. I did want to run into a quick theory. Let me give it to you here. So I got a 3 P's theory, self-love. And this is for the formation of gangs, and this is for 12 and the feds. It all comes down to poverty, the police, and protection. So that's what I think. I think they form these gangs, you know, out of poverty and protection, and then, you know, as a way of policing the police and policing themselves. I think that's why gangs start. And so I think if you want to address like eradicating gangs, then you're going to have to start with the eradication of the poverty. You have to start there. You know, infuse some education, if you will, and you know, stop with the tyranny, and the police provide the protection. Police should be providing the protection. It doesn't mean, you know, going through our community, and it doesn't mean going through our community and you know, harassing the citizens and harassing innocent children on their way to school, and just because they're in high school. That's not what that means. That means do your job. That means if you're not just trying to fulfill a quota by harassing people, you know, on their way to and fro work, and just throwing the book at them on nonsense when there's people outside literally committing crimes that, you know, if you just drove and did your job, walked your beat, parked your car sometimes, you know, talk to the people, drive around, stop. Once you realize, you know, this guy is a criminal, let him go, give him a warning, let him go, just like if he was a white guy, you know, because you're wasting your time. Then you call another car, then there's 3 cars, and you guys are talking about what you're going to eat for lunch. You can't stop crime that way, and you're going to lose respect from the citizens.
Do your job, serve and protect.
That's it. That's it. You know, yep. If you don't buy into the tyranny, Mr. Officer, and provided that protection, you know, people's, oh, now they're calling the police. Yes, we're calling the police. You know, because if we do it ourselves, you guys are going to show up and then arrest everybody and throw the book at us. So, you know, that's where I'm at. You got anything on that? So,
it's facts upon facts upon facts. You end the poverty, you protect the citizens, and you educate them to a point where they're self-sufficient.
that's it. That's it. And so now we've you know, had a narrative. Gangs are an offshoot or direct result of tyranny. But I do want to ask, well, no, well, the way the question's structured, and this is for the comments, you can leave it in the comments below and also in the chat. And self-love, are gangs an offshoot? Are gangs more of an offshoot or direct result of tyranny as opposed to a tool of tyranny? Like, you know how I said, are white people, are the governments using, you know, their gangs to set off Black Wall Street, things like that?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's very interesting because
chicken or the egg?
Yeah, because well, they all seem to start off all for the community and helping their general area, and then some time takes over, and then some reason it transforms to exploiting that community. And I'm wondering what's going on with that.
You know what I mean?
At some point, it becomes a tool of the Baphomet.
Yes, it does.
Which could be getting accomplished through infiltration.
That's facts. Absolute facts. Locking up people who would not feel that way and putting other people in charge that infiltrated could, man.
Locking up and or killing them.
Yeah. Facts. Yeah.
Interesting. So you say that they all seem to start, which we're going to get into later with the black gangs, out of a sense of a Robin Hood mentality.
Yeah.
Right. And then they start robbing the hood.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, I look at some of these places where you had these cartels, bro, in Mexico. And you know, everybody keeps saying, you got to move. You got to move. And everybody move. And it's like, man, so what's going to happen? So then these gangs shoot up Chicago and everybody moves and they shoot up. At some point, I'm going, in the whole world, you can go 1,000 years from now. At some point, where's everybody going to be? On Mars, probably by then. And then the gangs are going to come in and shoot everything.
Yeah, I mean, how you going to get there without? I'm just saying, you got to have them people with that mentality to go to another planet to.
You do. And that underground income has been known to finance cities.
Yeah. Facts.
Well, I hope you guys, as y'all can see, we're just getting started on this series here. Now, I have to answer that question. Are gangs an offshoot or direct result of tyranny as opposed to a tool of tyranny? Because I've like a lot of those union busters were started by corporations, by governments. Those were gangs. You could talk about the mafia and their connection, quite possibly, with the Vatican or whatever. I don't know if that's true, but let me go by what the spirits tell me. Are gangs an offshoot or direct result of tyranny? I'm going to say both, but if it's a chicken or the egg, I'm going to say what came first. I'm going to say the tyranny self. I'm going to say it's all tyranny. That's what I'm going to say.
I hear you. I can respect that. That's,
not a tool of tyranny, but as a result of tyranny.
Right.
Because that's how people band together. You're in some guys, you just walk them down the street, people throwing bottles and bricks at you, and chasing you up down. Hey, it's got to be a way I can walk from here to there. We need to band together. You know what I mean? Hey, we got to stop running. Look, why are we letting this guy kick his ass? Let's hide in the bushes and jump out and attack them. And then all of a sudden they want to be part of you. They respect you, and then now you guys are all cool. And now you're bigger. And then you start making money. And that's when the outsiders start coming in, where the greed gets involved, the money. And that's how they get caught up, because you got to go to a plug. And you just said, we're not manufacturing or bringing any of this in. Yeah. And the plug is going to turn in whoever the plug needs to turn in to stay afloat.
Absolutely.
And if we're the gumps and the goofies at this point, which is why the prisons are full of us, then we're the fall guys, the flunkies would be the better word, right?
Yeah, you the ones that's not. A flunky told on.
Which means I guess it goes back to, we have to stop doing the poisons, because then there'd be no poison to push in our neighborhood.
Yeah, that's ideal.
Yeah, that's an ideal thing. You know what I mean? But that's how you would have to, I guess, yes, that's ideal. You're right. That is ideal. I mean, jeez. So it's ideal, bro. It's the only way you can stop it, really, because it's a jinn, it's a Satan. You know what I mean? Like if you build Silverdale, when you build it, it is ideal. There's going to be kids that get off into it and adults too, but it's the only way it could stop it. I mean, Al Capone was saying it the whole time. Hey, man, I'm just selling what the people want.
Right. That's a fact. I mean, there's a
Because we
lot
should be
going
shutting
on in the
down Big
world.
Sugar. What's that, bro?
There's a lot going on in the world, and people are going through a whole lot. And these substances they use to escape, for lack of a better term, and keep escaping, and then you don't follow what you need to follow in life if you keep escaping from it. So ideally we will stop these substances, but as long as they're available, a lot of people are going to partake.
Man, facts. And then before we throw this to you for Wordsmith's final words, let's get out of this before the Supremists show up. I want to just first mention, we're going next Tuesday, we're going to start with 60s. So we're going to get into, when the Black Gang started. So we're talking middle 50s, 60s. We're going to start out with those earlier groups. Some may have been mentioned in the chat. But there were some groups that were before that, little clubs kind of. And I used to be out west, it's a bunch of little like block club type things that evolve, So we'll talk about how gangs, kind of organically started to just coagulate, if you will, across the world, across the country. I mean, but I would say initially in Chicago is the way it's looking. Chicago's always been a mecca of black thought, if you will. I don't want to defend that statement. Just do your own research, and then you can get it from there. But so that'll be on the 15th, which is Tuesday. That'll be the Gang Culture Part 2. We're going to do the rise of the black gangs. And then on June 16th, that following Wednesday, we're continuing our house music series. Really excited about our panel we have set up for that. And then make sure tomorrow you check us out right here at 7 p.m. Central. We're going to discuss meditation, and how meditation can be used to open up those jail cells, free your mind, and also help put a dent into the pendulum of fuckery that's been, say, poisoning our great city. Our self-love.
Yes, sir. Man, meditation is a good thing, and we're gonna unpack it tomorrow. So check us out. So for Tory Wordsmith's final words. Look deep within and figure where to begin. And it starts where the lack of education ends. When I started to look and started to learn. This is your life. It better be your highest concern. But the original gangsters that was in this city, I don't know, the indigenous killed plenty. There was many wars of the native type. At least that's what we told
Usabu came and cleared a lot of the mess and established this great city that we know and love. But it's a serious dichotomy. A whole lot of push and shove. Because it's very holistic and very holy at the same time. And I mean holy, full of holes. We need to fill those holes so all our spirits and souls can grow. So we'll get on the next time with the series about the rise of the Black gangs. I love you all. Thank y'all that y'all came. Like, share, subscribe far and wide. Share with 3 to 9 like minds.
Hey, this is well said, bro. Well said, Brody. We're closing out with a Chicago artist, and may he rest up. We got Thought It Was a Drought. This is by Shooter Shells. So Shooter Shells.
Yeah.
Thought It Was a Drought. Rest up. Bullets or boomerangs, Brody.
Stand your ground.
Facts. Murder is suicide, bro.
An eye for an eye.
Silence is violence.
See something? Say something.
12. Greed plus ego over fear. Well, slavery.
Charity plus humility times love is freedom.
Do not answer questions.
Question everything.
Fear is cap, bro. Fear is cap.
Vibrate love.
Forgiveness and charity are the highest love vibration.
So, do something charitable for an enemy. End the beef.
Healthy people, heal thy people.
And hurt people, they hurt people.
Oh, facts. You should know me, bro. You're a fucking white boy. Ghetto Angels, FBG Duck, rest up. Free Larry Hoover.
Free Jeff Ford.
Free all the guys, man. Let's get them out of the prisons.
Yeah, because prison is slavery.
Google the 13th Amendment and read it. And just really contemplate.